Okay, the recording is on, and now we can go to the slides again. Okay, let's share the slides, please. Okay, assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. I hope everybody is fine. And today we are going to start again this chapter 10, which is on managing teams. And we have already established that why teams are important. We all know that the importance of the team members, and I just try to revise the concept that the concept of the team members and the importance was realized in America during 1980 when they were just trying to find out why Japanese are the best in the corporate sector, and they just realized that it is down to the teams. So teams play a very important role, and if we just take the example of the football, you would understand that how important is the combination of the teams and how the people and the team members, if they play together, they can make a difference. Okay, so today's agenda is we'll be discussing group development. We'll be discussing work groups, performance and dissatisfaction, and we'll be talking about turning groups into how we can convert them into effective teams, and what are the current challenges in managing teams. So first of all, what are groups? Obviously, we know that two or more people or individuals, when they work together to achieve a specific task, is called a group. So in this definition, you'll have to look into this two or more. So two or more individuals, they're working together to achieve a specific goal. That is called a group. Like groups in an organization, we can have formal groups and we can have informal groups. Informal groups, what we mean is that work groups that are defined by the organization structure, that have been designed work assignments and tasks. So like in our college, we have Department of Management Science, we have got Department of Marketing, Accounting. So in every departments, we have a different number of employees working there. So we make them into certain groups. But these groups are like formal groups. And sometimes within these formal groups, people can have some relationship with other individuals, and they can make some informal relationship with them. Those are called informal groups. So it's groups that are independently formed to meet the social needs of the members. So basically, it's like because of the social needs. So there can be in a department, there can be like 53 individuals, but you will see them like 5 to 6 people. They just hang around with each other. They go outside, they do party, or when they go outside for lunches, they go together, and at times they can have their families get together as well. So these are the informal groups, but the formal groups, as I've already told you, that in the business college, if you have got like 53 employees, you have, this is called a formal group, and then you can just make subgroups of these, like the management group, marketing, finance. Same goes true for the corporate sector. We have HR department, we have finance department, we have procurement department, and you see them, all those individuals or employees working in a particular department, they have an affinity with the same group members. You go to the lunches and they go to the parties together. Now, we can also call another kind of group that is called a command group. What is a command group? It basically defines based on the organizational chart of a organization. We know that organogram, that's how the organogram is made for any organization. What does it tell us? It tells us who is reporting to whom. So who reports to whom and who is the manager. So this organogram tells us that these are the individuals, they are reporting to this manager, and these at this managers at this level, they are reporting to these. Okay, so these kind of groups, again, they are also called command groups. Similarly, we can have task groups. So as the name suggests, that it is a kind of a group that we make for a specific job task that has been assigned to a number of group members, and the resistance is often temporary because once you complete the task, you have to disband it. Okay, so this is basically a purposeful built kind of a group, and this group disbands at the completion of the task. So we can have numerous examples, like if the university wants to make a group of they want to evaluate a course, they can assign 3 to 4 individuals to evaluate the course, and if they want to evaluate the curriculum, they can make a group, and once they have evaluated the curriculum, the group can be disbanded. In a manufacturing organization, you can have similarly, like if you have received a complaint from your customer that the product or the quality of the product was not good, like when I was in the company, we used to call it NCR, non-compliance report. So we used to create a non-compliance report if our customer, which was a business, our business nature of the business was business to business, so that our client customer was also a business. So when they launch a complaint, we used to give it as an NCR number, and we used to try to handle this complaint within 3 working days. Okay, then we used to make a team for this. They would probe like what has happened, what has gone wrong, what has particularly gone wrong in this particular product which we deliver to this customer. So basically the concept is when we just complete the NCR and we dispose of this complaint from the customer with our suggestions and recommendation, the team can be disbanded. So let's move to another one. There's another kind of team that we called cross-functional teams. So what do we do in the cross-functional team? This again groups that bring together knowledge and skills. So basically, this kind of team is more dependent on the knowledge and skills of employees from different working areas of the group whose members have been trained to do each other's job. So in this, I always give you the example that I am teaching this course to the engineering students, but basically I belong to the business college. So here we can give this an example of a cross-functional team that the engineering department needs the knowledge and skills about management, and that's why they require employees who are from the different work area, like say from the other department, and so that they are trained, they know how to teach, they know how to use with the other tools and technique, and how to connect with the students, and that's how this work has been done. So there can be numerous reasons why we need cross-functional teams, but one of the most reasons is that you are just trying to get the knowledge and skills, because we know that the people in that area who are specialized, they must know better than the rest. So the whole concept is, instead of going outside for the knowledge and skills, or instead of trying to establish this knowledge and skill base in your own department, which can be good difficult and challenging, so you can just borrow these employees from the other department. Next concept is self-managed teams. As the name suggests, that these are the groups of people who are independent. So there is no check and balance on them as such, or formal check and balance. In addition to their tasks, they are required to do some other assignment, which is like responsible things for them to do. They take a traditional responsibility of like most of the time people at the or employees at the higher level, they are involved in a hiring process. They are involved in planning and scheduling process. This is the job of the CEOs or the top management, and they are also involved in performance evaluation. So when, like say, directors, board of directors, or other senior management, or even the managers, most of the time, they are involved in these activities. Like hiring can be a long process, and it would require efforts from the concerned people, and they have to deal with their own respective tasks which they are doing. So if there's a production manager, he or she has to take care of his productions and dealing with the staff, and similarly he or she has to be involved into the hiring, has to conduct probably shortlist the CVs. They probably go through each CV. They might have to call to the shortlisted candidates, and then probably be sitting in the interviews and things like that. So basically these kind of teams mostly fall into self-managed teams, in which the colleagues, they just manage these activities based on their availability, so they can decide about the tasks that are mutually acceptable to all of them. Now, as we discussed in our class, that the forming, there are different stages that in the team that goes through. And these stages are basically very natural, and it happens with most of us, and especially the students who are in the senior design, they can link themselves with these stages. So as a human being, it is noticed that we go through 5 different stages when we are trying to make a team. First stage is the forming stage, in which we make the team. Second stage is storming, in which you see conflicts among the team members. They just you see lots of fights going on between the team members. Third one is the norming, in which you try to understand the limitations and capabilities of others. In fourth stage, what you do is the team in a real sense starts working, and in fifth stage the team disbands and completes its functions. So what is a forming? It's basically functions. So what is a forming? It's basically a member join and begin the process of defining the group's purpose, structure, and leadership. So if you take into account your final project, which engineering students do, here we call it senior design. So for the senior design, you are thinking like, how many other friends I'm gonna join in my final project. So initially you are very excited about the project, and you are just thinking like we should have a group of like-minded students that we're going to explore this phenomenon. So despite you have all these like-minded individuals in your group, but suddenly you get surprised that you're struck with the contradiction or the conflicts. Why? Because there may be some students, they want to do research or project in one area, the others would like to be doing in another area, and then there can be certain disagreements, especially over the leadership. So you might see like, because you're all at the same level, so what happens is if one of the students says that, okay, we will decide the work, you will do this, you will do this, and this will create kind of a feeling among other members that this person is trying to be our boss, and they just react. They said we're not just going to listen to you, or they will not be following you. So anyways, but later on the stage, in this norming stage, you might understand that the person who was doing this was not doing it because of some bad intention, but it was because he or she wanted us to be organized. So what happened is that in the storming stage, you see lots of fights going on between the individuals. So I will talk to you about what kind of personality we will be needing in forming and storming. So basically, when the group member realize that each one of us has certain capabilities, and we need to be working on those capabilities, and we should be having a more cohesive relationship with each other. And that is the time when we realize each other's weakness, and we try to capitalize upon the strength of the others. So this stage is basically called a norming stage. Then after this, when people they understand each other's limitations, like initially in the forming stage, you hold very high expectations from each other, but when you are arranging for the meeting, the person is not coming on time, or is late, or when he is not fulfilling the commitment on time, that creates storming. But later on, you come to know that yes, this person or this colleague, group member or classmate does come late in the class, in the meeting, but at least he does his work whenever we assign to him, and things like that. So after norming, you'll see that the actual performance goes up. The group members, they just become close to each other. They functionally structure allows the group to focus on the performance of the task at hand. And this helps to achieve the desired outcome. So you'll see that the work is being done on the final project, and you are able to submit the project on time. The last stage is obviously a journey, when you just have completed your task and you disband the group. You don't need no group. This is how they have tried to explain this to us. Norming stage, you can see these patterns here. And in the performing stage, we see that a diamond is being made. But in the forming stage, you see all the energies are being wasted into different directions. Nothing is happening. In storming, these energies are being spent against each other. By norming, trying to understand these energies and the sources of these energies, and performing as a diamond, energies are being utilized at their optimum level, and in joining, when the employees just have completed their task and they're just leaving. So this is the group performance satisfaction model. We have to look into it from different perspectives. These are the internal dimensions, and then we have some external conditions that are being imposed on the group performance. Or these are the realities of the external condition, regardless of how much the group members are resourceful, what is the structure of the group member, what are the group processes, how frequently they meet, and things like that. So I would ask you to please keep this figure in your mind for the next slide, so that we can go through like different dimensions of the group performance satisfaction model. So in external factors, we have organizational strategy. So the organizational strategy has a profound effect on the group performance. So if the group members, for instance, in a university, they are basically involved into businesses, and they want to businesses where the group strategy, organizational strategy is for increasing research output. So how do you think that the university will behave? Are they going to give them some incentives? Are they going to question in the rules and regulations? So that's very important for the group members to understand the organization strategy. And or the organization strategy gives the directions to the group members how they perform. Authority is a very important instrument through which the relationships are controlled, especially within a group. So if the group members, they have been bestowed upon some authority from the organization, then the kind of relationship is going to be different as compared with the group in which they have not given any authority. And similarly, if the authority is from the top, if they are interested in the group and activities they encourage and appreciate, your group outcome is going to be different as compared to the one in which the authority is not appreciated. We can have formal regulations within our organization. These are the rules and regulations that have to be followed at any cost. So there can be certain rules and regulations, they might undermine the efforts that employees want to do for the betterment of the organization or achieve something. So yes, their efforts can be taken as negative. Available organizational resources. So these are the resources that organization offers to the group members. This again will be very much close to the organizational strategy. So if this is in line with the strategy, then the organization might be offering more resources or dedicating specific resources for that kind of activity. For example, this is a university in which the strategy is to get number one in the research. So what you're going to have is that you'll see lots of resources are being available to the client, customer, students. If the focus of the university is consultancy, then they will try to provide resources that are required for the consultancy. Again, employees selection criteria is very important because the employees, what kind of future employees or organization you want to make, you have to have those kind of employees at board by the start of the journey. So employees characteristics is for paramount importance. Then performance management, which is also called appraisal management system, they also set a certain kind of a check on the individuals who really want to have a contribution in sense of a teamwork. If the performance appraisal system is encouraging individualism versus collectivism, then you will not see the collectors or people together trying to achieve something. Everybody is kind of fighting for their own personal achievements. Organization culture also plays a significant role, as most of the organizations, they have a strong culture, and they have a culture of cooperation, formal, appreciative, that can generate different kind of output. And the last but not the least is the general physical layout of the workplace. So how the employees interact with each other, and how the group members can have an access to each other. If the group members are very far away and remote kind of a relationship, that will have a different kind of impact on the overall performance. Okay, now move on to the next slide. We also need to know the knowledge of the employee, which is a paramount importance. So an employee that has got a highly diversified work background, they can help us to learn about the organization. Then the skills that are needed by the employees. So basically, if you go back and Just think about the teams, different stages. We talk about the forming stage, the conflict stage, okay. And then there was a third stage, there was the norming stage, and then performing stage. So all these stages, they require a particular kind of management skill. So we now might need interpersonal skills and conflict management skill and resolution collaborative, perform problem solving and communication determine how effectively members perform in a group. So basically, engineers should have a good conflict resolution. They should do a good contribution of collaboration problem solving. So how do you solve a problem in a group? One can be a very good problem solver at individual, but in a group level, you might not be a very effective person. And the third one is communication skill that is required by the group. Then the abilities, how the different group members they are bringing to the table, and this will define like a successful group have a diversified kind of backgrounds, and they are bringing in a different expertise, like in football or like in cricket. You see, there are players with certain expertise. So they can be like a footballer, they can be a central forward or central back or a main striker or goalkeeper. They're all specialized people, but we try not to take many of the similar traits. We need to be able to understand that different traits they also bring unique perspective to the business. Personality traits are very important. The individual perform the way they have the personality. If they are kind of honest, they are punctual, they are regular, they honor their commitments, and what is their moral standards, they're going to have a strong impact on the overall organization performance. So the role of is, if you try to define the role, there's a set of expected behavior patterns attributed to the someone who accompanies a given position in a society. Unit that assists the group in task accomplishment. Let me highlight this one. Maintaining group member satisfaction. So what is it? It's a set of expected behavior. So a role is an expected behavior of the employees that we already knew, and then it attributes someone occupies that are related to the position or the job assignment that he has got. So by the virtue of the job design, a manager can be responsible for 40 employees who will be directly reporting to them. Now you have to understand there can be two kinds of conflicts. One is called role conflicty, and the other one is role ambiguity. What is role conflict? It is experiencing different role expectations. So imagine if this is a fresh student who has become a lecturer, and you'll find him like at times he is just talking to the students and he just forgets that he was a teacher, because she may be tempted toward talking in a very casual manner. So that can be termed as a role conflict. And role conflict is bad in a sense for the overall group members, that there has to be clarity on the role expectation, and the person who is trying to apply the role in which the salad and other things are being added, so they have to make a good combination so that other people will not get confused of this. But if other people, they do not find manager or a supervisor of that capable, they will lose the trust, and ultimately your performance is going to be declined. They will lose the trust, and ultimately your performance is going to be declined. Regarding the role ambiguity, it's uncertainty about the role expectations. So sometimes a role is not very clearly defined, and when the role is not being clearly defined, then you'll see the employees will having different expectations, and then it will also create conflicts. So it's a very important thing that everybody in the group, they define their roles properly, and they should try to make sure that they are not involving into other person's role, because when they'll be involving each other person's role, it might trigger the conflict to a further level. Now, there's a certain norms and behavior that are very important. Norms are acceptable standards or expectations that are shared by the group members. So imagine you are making a group of your friends to accomplish a task which was given to you by your university. You hold certain expectations from your friends, and similarly the friends also hold expectations from them. So how does the group members, they help each other, and how much their behavior is what you were kind of already expecting. For example, if for the team meetings, and when you send a message to all the group members that we're going to have a meeting on Tuesday, so is it a better way to send it, or is it a better way to ask them, like, uh, please suggest a day for a meeting and a time for the meeting? So it all depends on the norms in the organization. If you ask them, then you have to be open up to accept different views. But if the norm is that the CEO or the senior or the team lead, he calls for the meeting, so you can send them an email and ask them to opt for different times for the meeting. So they can be common type of norms. There can be norms regarding to the efforts and the performance. So mostly people think like if we ask somebody, then he or she should put efforts into this and trying to achieve the desired outcome or objective. And we also expect that the other people will not be absent, because if they will be absent, we will not be able to achieve the task. And promptness is one of the most important things which we require in the teams. Like whenever the team lead propose something, he or she should have someone who should opt for it. And there can be chances in which, like most of the time, there are only few people, they have promptness and they just try to offer their services, but most of the people, they just try to stay behind. Anyways, the last is socialization, is how the employees interact with each other, how they socialize. So this can be linked with informal groups which exist in the organization, like as I told you, in a department of 5 to 6 or 50 to 60 employees, there can be 5 to 6 employees, they might be very close to each other. So they might be going for on a river, or they might go on a recreational point or to a hotel, and they just can have enjoy food. So socialization can also be one of the norms. What are the norms in the organization? Dress is one of the most important things for individuals. So, and how we dress and how different cultures, they give importance to the dresses, is very important. And finally is the loyalty, how much people are loyal in a particular organization or in a particular culture, and how much it is expected. So sometimes people expect a lots of loyalty from the group members, even at that certain times they might expect that they do illegal things or even compromise things, uh, which will save the honor of the group. What is conformity? Conformity is a very interesting topic in which we learn that most of the group members, they try to conform to be accepted by the group. So what they do is they always try to accept to the whatever the group suggests, whatever the most people in the group agrees. So this is crucial. Like we saw that in most of the cases, there can be 2-3 people, they are very vocal in the meeting and they can get convinced the rest of the people. So, but as a human being, as a social animal, we always try to conform to the society. We try to do things that are acceptable by the group. So at work, similarly, it's like if there's a very formal kind of a group at some, say, McDonald's, KFC, or so. So what is going to happen is they will be meticulously following the time, and they will not be kind of missing the opportunity. So if any group member that is not coming on the time, they consider them as bad. So the group members who is casual in nature, she will also try to be on time. So the effect of conformity is not as strong as it used to be now, although it's a powerful force. So this author expects that the conformity when we're trying to stay connected with the group has decreased over the period of time, but has still talked about this in part. So what happens is the group creates a groupthink, which is an extensive pressure on others in strongly cohesive or threatening groups that casually individualize members to change their opinions to conform to the group. So what does this group do is that it creates a groupthink. So all the people within the group, they just are bound to think in the manner that the rest of the members think. If they don't think, they are not considered suitable for the group. So this can be something we need to be careful about. Like groupthink is a good thing, but we need to understand when we are right and when we are not right. Status symbol, as it can be very important. If in organization we have a status symbol, which is for prestige, grading, positioning, and ranking systems for the members of groups that serve as a recognition for the individual's contribution to the group and as a behavior motivator. So if you have formal status, the systems are effective in the perceived ranking of an individual and status symbol accorded that individuals are connected. So individuals consider themselves of the same status on the rank that they are. So if you have a status symbol, then the individual will not like to sit with the employees from the lower status rank. So you'll see huge disparity among the employees. Now we can have groups. They can be small groups. They can the advantages are they can complete tasks faster than the other groups, and they can make more effective use of the facts. So if we are trying to find out about the fact finding, small groups are effective. What is a large group? They solve problems better than the small group. So if we have a large group, it is better to solve the problem. It can help you getting a diversified output from different individuals from different countries and are more effective in fact finding. So these kind of groups are great for fact finding. There is a tendency when we are doing the group the meetings or things like that, this is called social loofing. It's a tendency for individuals to expend less efforts when working collectively than when working individually. So what happens is you find a person who is brilliant and you find 3-5 People shortlist them from the individual departments, make a team with the other group members, and then you see that there is a decrease of their performance. You can't understand like, what is the reason. So it is reason is because of the social looping, in which individuals sometimes individually they are performing good, but when they've been made a part of a group, they become distracted and they have lost the focus. So group cohesiveness, there is no second thought on this, that it is the paramount important thing. So the degree to which members are attracted to the group and share the group's goals. Highly cohesive groups are more effective and productive. So cohesive means like how much they are close to each other. So the group members, if they are very close to each other, we expect a lots of performance and satisfaction. But if they are not having a cohesive group, then we might see problems. So highly cohesive groups are more effective and productive than less cohesive groups when their goals align with the organizational structure. Now there's a direct link between the alignment of goals and organization goals with the production. So this is basically you can see a production analysis with the team's groups in performance. So we see a strong productivity where we have a high level of the group cohesiveness, the group members are very close to each other, and the goals are very much aligned with the organizational goal. But this can be a different case altogether. If cohesiveness is very high, but this alignment is with the international standards, whatever the goals and standards that have been set by the organization. So you'll see a decrease in the productivity. So what will happen is that the group members will be sitting, talking, and because they have a high cohesiveness, but this talking and performance is not being done on the desired objectives of the organization, and they are being done on the separate individual preferences. We can observe a moderate increase in productivity when cohesiveness is slightly slower, but at least the organization has its goals aligned and they're working on the goals. So they are slow, but at least they can achieve something. The last is like when there is very little cohesiveness, there is no alignment with the organization goal. This is a serious concern for the management because there is no significant effect on productivity. So the group process and the group decision making have certain advantages and disadvantages. What are the group's decision making advantages? That they generate more complete information and knowledge. So as compared to individual, it's a good exercise. It generates more diverse alternatives, probably might have not thought of by themselves. It increases acceptance of solution. So in group decision making, we are more concerned about the solutions. So then there can be increased legitimacy of the decision. So if the decision has been made by a group member, they will own this. Like if a teacher makes a goal with the students, so all the students they agree, then they cannot. There is no coming back. Okay. What are the decision making in the group has problems that it is time consuming. Sometimes there can be minority individuals, but they can control the psyche of the whole group members. They might control the discussion in the meeting, and that's why they might create a bias. Second one is the pressure to conform, like when you have to follow the boss, when you have to follow someone else's suggestion that in your heart you feel like this is not the right, but still you accept to that. That can be an issue with the group decision making, and the last one is ambiguous responsibility. If the responsibility is not clearly defined, then it can create a problem for the whole organization. Now, looking into the conflict once again and trying to look into what kind of conflicts can be arise. So the perceived incapability differences in a group resulting in some form of interface or with other opponents to its assigned task. So this is a feeling that individuals can have about the tasks that have been assigned, and imagine two people have been assigned the same task. What will happen? So a traditional view is that conflict must be avoided. So look at what kind of mentality they might be following. So if the group members follow the traditional view, they will just try to avoid the conflict at all cases. So what they'll be doing is they might be compromising on some quality issue or the key paramount important things, because they are just trying to avoid the conflict. They're just trying to make the other people happy. So this kind of approach can be a bit questionable. Another approach is that like we are human beings, and human beings have relations with each other. So conflict is a natural and inevitable outcome of a group. So in this, we consider like if there's a conflict, it's a natural thing. So there should be nothing to be afraid of, and we should be trying to resolve the conflicts. But when we will sit together as human beings, we might have experienced conflict. The third is interactionist view. This to consider like conflicts can be first of force and is absolutely necessary for effective group members. So they consider like if there are conflicts, and you must have noticed in your life as well, then many times the friends do have huge conflicts, or the individuals with you have strong conflicts, they ultimately make you good friends. So this is interactionist view. They consider that it's a positive thing, that necessarily be effective group member and this performance. Now let's see into the categories of the conflicts. A conflict can be a functional, which is called constructive, and a conflict can be dysfunctional, which is called constructive, and a conflict can be dysfunctional, that can be destructive. So if the conflict is functional, like you are basically there is no ego involved, you are talking about some point, and the whole discussion is it's very objective, not subjective, and you just try to honestly try to find out like how we can get a solution to this. So there can be different perspectives, and these all the perspectives you can just measure the alternatives, and you can come up with the best solution. But when there's a dysfunctional conflict, are destructive because everybody just decide they don't like the concept or the way, they just agree to this, and they just try not to be focusing on the performance, rather they're more focused on their personal egos or personal agendas. So this can create huge issue for the group to achieve their targets. So types of conflicts, we can call them a task conflict. It's basically is based on the contents and goals of the work. So it is very much important on the type of the goals you are pursuing. Relationship conflict occurs when you feel that there are certain individuals, when they interact with each other, they have some problems. In their normal life, they are very good. You go to one person, you meet him, you say, oh, he's a very gem of a person. You meet another, you say this is, but sometimes they have some issues, sometimes they have communication issues, or sometimes they have other personal issues, but they can affect the overall performance. Sometimes the conflicts are not because of the task which you are doing. It's not about the relationship, or it can be the nature of the job, how the work gets done. Sometimes the work is done in a manner that is creating a conflict among the employees. So the top management needs to overcome this issue, need to provide or develop a work process that does not have no conflicts or minimizes the conflicts among the people. So imagine there has been one person who has been working on some task for say 7 days. So if you are working for a client and you are in a law firm and you have developed a case for like 7 days, and then one person takes the case and do the discussion in the court with the lawyer, and he wins the case, and all the credit goes to this person. Okay, this is just a simple example to explain you. Here we just try to build a contract and group performance. We see that when the level of conflict is low or none, you see this level. See the group performance, how it goes up. When there is a conflict is low, dysfunction is low. Low, aesthetic, stagnant characteristics are unresponsive to the change, lack of new ideas. So what happens is when you try to avoid conflict, you do not want to have a high conflict. Your focus is like dysfunctional because you want to please make people happy regardless of the task we achieve, and your level of performance is also going to be low. Same is true for this stage 3. When we are having high conflicts or the high dysfunctional types of conflicts, they are mostly disruptive and they create chaotic, and they just do not produce uncooperative kind of nature of characteristics people are holding. And again, the outcome is low group performance. What are the characteristics of the high performance group members? Okay, the level is their conflict is based on optimal, not on the personal likes and dislikes. The functions are the type of the group is called functional, in which you do not base on some issue but on a real problem that is faced by the group. Then the group internal characteristics are their viable, so self-critics, and innovative. And that's the reason that you see a high performance in this kind of group setting. How we can manage the conflict? We can first, as we discussed, that we can follow an approach which is called avoidance. Which you just said, if most of the people don't speak during the meeting, they just try to avoid the conflict. They consider that if I'll speak something, then other people will think, oh, this is, it might offend the other person. Another approach is in which we try to accommodate other, which is called accommodating. So we just consider our viewpoint, and also we try to others to consider our viewpoint. Third one is a strong offensive, in which we are trying to force our viewpoint on other ones. Fourth one is compromise, in which we compromise on our outcome or the suggestion, and we just listen to the other one. And there can be a collaboration in which we just say, okay, let's go with the 50-50 rule. You go, let's try to collaborate and make a new kind of a solution. This is how they have shown if we are trying to pitch the conflict management technique on two grades. One is assertiveness, like how much someone is authoritative, and trying to see it on the cooperativeness. So we say that forcing is a situation in which we are trying to resolve the conflicts by satisfying one's own needs at the expense of the another. So your whole focus is on yourself. You should be satisfied. And avoiding is basically on the start of the conflict stage, where you are trying to avoid resolving conflicts by withdrawing from the or suppressing them. So you see there's something going on, it's wrong, but you don't highlight it with the group members. You think like if somebody is coming late all the time and you just don't want to mention it, like the person is going to be offended, or somebody takes too much time in a meeting, or someone is not delivering their things on time, and all of you are kind of ignoring it. That is a stage at which we call it avoiding. And then collaboration is a stage in which we are trying to resolve the problem, seeking an advantageous solution for all the parties. So you would see like uh, when trying to collaborate, we are trying to seek advantages and solution that all the parties agree to this. Accommodation is an extremes uh, in a sense that we are just trying to resolve conflicts by placing another's needs and concern above your own, or your own suggestions for the group, what you consider that was good for the group to achieve the task. But unfortunately, accommodation is also not an ideal state. So compromising can be a stage in which we are trying to resolve conflict by each other's parties giving up something for value. So they can just come up with a new solution to the problem, and it can also be beneficial for the other group members to learn. So see what are the group tasks and group effectiveness. Highly complex and interdependent tasks requires effective communication. This is again to highlight the importance of group and why we need management subject. So we need a high level of effective communication. Discussion among the group's members is very important. So keep on discussing with yourself and your other colleagues, and try to share with them the real issues that you're facing. And control conflicts. It's more interaction among group members, and that's why it's important to bring in how we can uh, control the maximum number of conflicts, and how we can generate a very close interaction among the employees. So let's go through the advantages of teams. Teams outperform individuals. This is true. 1 plus 1 is called 11. They don't make 1 plus 1 2. They are called 11 in the team. So teams provide a way to better use employees' talents. Teams are more flexible and responsive. Team can be quickly assembled and deployed and refocused and disbanded. So these are the advantages of the team. So a team member, again, a group whose members work on a specific goals using their positive energies, individual or and mutually countable and complement skills. So like groups, like we have teams, which we can have problem-solving teams, self-managed team, cross-functional team, and virtual teams. This grid gives us a comparison between groups versus teams. So we have to understand what is a group and what is a team. So in one The leadership role is considered shared, while in teams there is one leader, group, or team leader. And accountability to self dreams. So a work leader is a work team member. They has the accountability to self-run team is more important. But in the work growth, they're accountable for one's own self. They are not accountable for the whole team. The team creates specific purpose. So if the purpose is achieved, the teams can be dismantled. Purpose is the same as broader organization purpose. So in groups, the group purpose is for the whole organization. In team, work is done collectively. Meetings characterized by open-ended questions, discussions, and collaboration for the problem solving. Performance is made directly by the evaluating collective work outputs, and work is decided upon and done together. So within a team, while in the groups, work is done individually, meeting characterized by individual no collaboration or open-ended discussions are done. Performance is made indirectly according to the influence of others, and work is decided upon by group leaders and dedicated to the individual group members. Now let's see the types of teams. First one is the problem-solving team, in which employees from some department and function areas who are involved in efforts to improve work activities or solve specific problems. As I told you, the example of the NCR, which we call non-compliance report. So if there was an issue reported by the customer or client, report. So if there was an issue reported by the customer or client, we used to make a team, and the team used to go and solve the issue. Self-managed work groups, we have already talked about them. So they are here we are talking about self-managed work teams. They are formal groups of employees who separately operate without a manager and responsible for a complete work or process of management. It is almost the same. We can have cross-functional teams. They are a hybrid group of individuals who are expert in various specialty and who work together on various tasks. So they are also similar to the work groups. Now, virtual teams basically they use computer technology to link physically dispersed members. So someone can be sitting in Riyadh, another is in Jeddah. So how we can link them, and if we make a unique team by virtually linking them, that is called a virtual team. What are the characteristics of the team? They have a clear understanding of their goals. They have competent members with relevant technical and interpersonal skills. They exhibit high mutual trust in the character and integrate to their members. They are unified in their communication, and they have good communication system. They possess effective negotiation skills. They have appropriate leadership qualities, and they have both internal and external support environment. This gives you the characteristics of the team members. And effective teams have clear goals, they have relevant skills, they have mutual trust, they have unified commitments, they have good communication, good negotiation skills, authority, leadership, internal support, and external support mechanism. Okay, let's discuss the current challenges to the teams today's era. So getting employees to cooperate with others is a big task nowadays, which was not used to be that difficult in early ages. And sometimes people are reluctant to share information. So how we can get the information from others? How would they share their learning because they just codify their information? That can be a challenge. And then people have different individual differences, cultural background that can how to understand others' perspective, or I like try to understand the reasons this is important. Then you can have subliminal personal interest of the greater good to the team. So sometimes people use that we are doing it for the greater benefit of the whole team, but in reality they have their own subliminal personal agenda that they don't want to go for. So, but these are the challenges that the individual or the leader has to learn. We can have social networking, which can be important nowadays. In today's era, people they just use social media platforms and they have social networking as well. So they can give us better understanding about the team and the team members. And nowadays, the social platforms are being used to investigate about the personality of an individual, even though somebody applies for visas, they apply for the jobs. Social net provides a good understanding about the individuals. So these are the patterns of information connection among individuals with other. So what are the importance of the social network? Relationships can help or hinder the team effectiveness. If individuals are having links with the social platforms and they interact with each other, it can help them and it can hinder them. Sometimes negativity from social media can also come and play a negative role on the team's performance. Relationship improves team goal attainment and increases members' commitment to the team. So if we have a good social networks, individuals, they will just try to follow the team's commitments and hopefully they're going to perform in a manner that they will be helping to achieve the organizational goals on time. Okay, this is our today's lecture. These are the key terms that we have gone through in today's lectures. So if you have any questions, you are more than welcome to ask. The house is open for the question, please. Thank you. So is there any question you would like to ask? Please raise your hand or text. Okay, Faisal, Abdul Salam, thank you. Okay, it's clear, thank you. Thank you. Azam, Abdul Latif, Jihad, okay, thank you. Okay, thank you very much. I will take your attendance from here and have a nice weekend. I wish you all the best. I can stop the recording. I can stop the recording.